Hey, and welcome to Tales from the Flip Side. Hey, for all of you that joined us last week for our Clone Wars reaction, obviously we had a little bit of technical difficulty. For all you people that stayed on Facebook, you got a little bit extra. But today we are going to be covering episodes 9, 10, 11, and 12, as long as everything stays kosher, I guess. We'll be back in a minute to give you our... All right, so as I said, we got the Clone Wars reaction, 9, 10, 11, 12. A little bit of a rehash. We are going to go over 9. We do have a new format. Pete has made some wonderful animated slides for us. Jen actually has a couple favorite characters in this one. And Solo Wookiee hopefully won't be still unboxing those packages.
I can start now.
So what we do have here, though, is kind of like two subsets, right? Like the first one is really Nute Gunray type heavy focus, and the last
Ventress.
two, yeah, a little bit of Ventress in there too, and the last two are very focused on
Dooku.
Hondo. Pretty much Hondo's got a lot to do with them, and Dooku spreads out through all. So let's start it off with the first one. The first title is Cloak of Darkness. Jen,
ignore your instincts at your own peril. Oh, dang! I said it again. That was last time too. Ignore your instincts at your peril.
The last time doesn't count anymore. They officially erased that forever. I do have a copy, though. It's going to be in the retakes. I'm just going to put it out there. All right. Pete, if you could, give us a little bit of your new magic so we could talk about this one. Hey, so we got Luminary here. It's really cool. They play a lot on this character and the relationship between her and Ahsoka Tano. Also, too, I might add, Nute Gunray gets in there, tries to bribe some of the clones, so we get that. But back to the Luminara thing, you get to see a lot of development in Ahsoka. I know we've been talking about this in the past, but it really starts to happen here. We've got our man here, Argus, with his beautifully coiffed and plucked eyebrows. This scene right here was really cool. Ahsoka Tano starts to act angry towards Nute. Like she acts like she's getting taken over by anger.
It's like the good cop, bad cop.
It is, except for the good cop doesn't know that the bad cop's playing bad cop.
That's true.
So you get to see her kind of do a little bit of an angry portion here, and you see Luminara kind of reprimand her, and she stops and goes, look, I'm not really mad. I'm on the right side of the Force. Obviously, we've had they go there to try to free Nute Gunray. Ventress is in charge of it. Luminara kind of says, hey, listen, I've got this little Padawan. You aren't ready yet for us. Doesn't play that well, I don't think, with her. It gets a lot better. Like I said, there's a lot of development here. Ahsoka really starts to pick up to be the Ahsoka we find out later. Yeah. Ventress finds her way onto the ship and just quickly dispatches herself and destroys clones, as usual. She's really good in this one. Yeah. She also, which is really cool, they start using, you get a little bit of the play back and forth with her and Obi-Wan. But as we'll see later on in these clips, the play between her and Ahsoka Tano is really cool. Just the banter back and forth between the two of them. Mm-hmm. You get to see a little bit of fighting. She pretty much says, like, his little Padawan or whatever, makes fun of her a lot. By the way, this is the one part I didn't like. Pete, could you pause that or take that back one frame? I'll notice this later. All those Senate guards there aren't dead. It looked like originally she, like, wiped them all out. They aren't dead. They, like, pop up before. It was very, I don't know.
But wait. So Ahsoka says, if it isn't the hairless harpy. And then Ventress is like, if it isn't Skywalker's filthy, obnoxious little pet.
Which is funny because early on, I think there was a lot of people who did think she was obnoxious. And when you start to get to these episodes, especially this one, she turns the corner. She's not obnoxious anymore.
She kind of stands on her own.
She does stand on her own a lot. She doesn't have 2 lightsabers yet, and she's somehow battling somebody way over her thing. Also, she does the splits here. You can hit it again, Pete. For no reason, she does the splits in the middle of the hallway to allow Ventress to jump over her. She then kicks Ahsoka Tano into the prison, but Luminara comes there, frees them. However, Ventress starts blowing up all these bombs, and her and Nute escape. We did get to see the 327T droid in this, which is pretty much a stick. Mm-hmm. Also a terrible droid. And besides that, we get the little back and forth between Argus and the clones, and they're kind of doing the morality thing where the clone is very structured, and Arius is saying like, well, there's a little bit of kind of gray area you just wouldn't understand because you're not a human. And
well, even he's the one that helps Ahsoka go after Ventress. Like he talks her into like just disobeying orders, which the clones wouldn't have done.
Yeah, but is that because he wanted to get her out of the way so that?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean later on it seems like you do get a lot of good battling both between Ventress. Well, all the Ventress scenes are good, so it does show that she is definitely great at dueling. She doesn't ever seem to wear it out. Luminara, who's supposed to be this great Jedi, seems to be kind of a little bit weaker in this one, both on the fact that she overlooks Ahsoka Tano and Ahsoka Tano's power, and right here when she has to be saved by Ahsoka Tano, and that her laser, her fencing skills aren't that good. You do get the double lightsaber portion here, which is kind of cool. Ventress, the only thing I will complain about with Ventress is like they try to make her look too witchy. Now here we go again with plucked eyebrows, and plucked eyebrows is starting to get his plan into place while Newt is trying to bribe them. Eventually, he uses Newt as a shield when he breaks him out because he has been hired by Count Dooku. He gets on the ship and gets very cocky, and Newt says like, "Oh yeah, I really trust you," and everything else. Dude, how many times are you going to? Yeah, and that's what you get. That's what you get for being cocky. He gets lippy to Ventress, and that was the last of him. I mean,
I still think she was going to do that anyway.
She was doing it no matter what. Yeah, 100% no matter what. Like he was all cocky saying, "Oh, I'll tell Dooku you helped out," and blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, that's.
But this just happened like a couple episodes ago. It's like, why are these people trying to say stuff against like the bad? Like if they are Sith wielding, like why? Like they have a lightsaber. You're not safe.
By the way, you knew what she like. And she blew up like half the thing for no reason.
Yeah,
you were there. You saw the whole time where she did kick Ahsoka Tano right through the thing and held off both of them for a while, blew up half of the prison type area or whatever they were on, the transport. Like, you knew that she's bad. Like, what? I mean, you knew she's got the skills. Just because you snuck out while she was blowing everything up and beating everybody up doesn't mean, like, man, you're not that smart, man. You're just not that bright.
He didn't realize that all of his leverage was gone. Like once he got Newt out, like you have nothing left to offer. They have no reason to pay you. What are they going to pay you for? Well, they could just kill you.
Yeah, that was the worst. And then of course Newt wheels out and goes, "Oh, I had great faith in you, Ventress. Yeah. You're the top one. You're everything that's going on." Hey, I just want to shout out a couple people. We've got some great people in chat already. Look at this. Jen, you're getting for a win already.
I think that's when I messed up on the thing.
Mojo, what's going on? And we got JJ, one of our favorites. What's up, JJ? Yeah, it's like the other guys. I thought you said it was a lot of that. I thought you should have been the other. It did play out well, though. I really enjoyed the episode. Obviously, I like the growth of Ahsoka, and it didn't take that long to get there, right? We're in episode 9, and now she's just BA Ahsoka. More towards her age, right? Like, I think part of it too was when they originally were casting her and having her play, she seemed very childish, even though you would have to imagine because she was a baby when they did bring her over. Speaking of that, we have Kate Fisto later on. But it was Poe, right? Yeah. Wrong Jedi. Either way.
Plo Koon later on.
Plo Koon. Yeah. No, we have Kate Fisto, not Plo Koon. Either way, Plo Koon brought her when she was a kid over, and that was kind of cool, man. That she grew up, and I think they forgot that early on, and then they developed her here where she would be kind of in that older teenager years, maybe almost into like, the 20s. I mean, it's really weird because of what they did with Anakin when he was like 16. All of a sudden, he was a Jedi Knight, which, whatever. Yeah. All right, so let's rate this first episode.
He's the chosen one, so he moved up.
Okay, well. That's for another day where we banter about the chosen one and what mistakes
and the Metachlorians.
Yeah, Metachlorian counts. And how they're still to this day trying to clean it up. Okay, so let's go with Solo Wookiee because I know that he was at I heard the other day that why we got cut off was because he was actually talking to the board of directors, and he was over there in the boardroom and they didn't like what we were doing. So coming down from the boardroom, Solo Wookiee, what is your grade on this episode, please?
Solo, did you freeze?
Solo froze.
I thought he was really happy.
Pete, That's great. He went back up to the border. Pete, let's give a review real quickly. What did you get this episode?
The problem I have, I don't remember what I said last week because we did kind of give grades last week, but I'm pretty sure it would have been where I feel still today. I think it's a solid 4.
All right, solid 4.
I really liked what you were talking about too, about like Ahsoka actually. She wasn't just whining as a kid, like, "Hey, you can't go after Ventress." Like, she was right, and she's like, "You listen to me," and she proved her worth on her own, basically. So I really like that, and I did like the, of course, the obvious turnabout of coiffed hair getting killed, but
I love it.
Still, it had to happen. All in all, it was a very solid episode, and I gave it that little extra to get it to a 4 because again, I like the Ahsoka growing up, basically.
All right, Solo Wookiee, are you back from the boardroom?
I guess so, man. Looked like all of a sudden everything just went dink.
Dude, you had the most calm and happy smile, and we thought you were just as content as could be.
Good job.
Yeah. Well,
what's up, Yeezy? Yeezy's in the house.
I
Solo frozen carbon.
I try and keep that Santa Claus even keel through life,
All right, Solo, ruin all of our days and tell us how wrong we are with our grades, and give us a grade on this one.
I really like this one. I got there's some stuff that does kind of bother me a little bit. Not as much as a lot of the others.
Are you being influenced by Dark Disciple?
Yes. I absolutely am. I absolutely am. But it really adds to this episode even more now. Like now that I've got
you can't do that. You got to do it pre-Dark Disciple.
I can't not do it. I can't not. I'll give it a 4, which is really close to what I was before. I think it was either a 3.5 or a 4 before.
So for those that haven't been checking out Solo's IG, he finally finished Dark Disciples after years of us telling him to do it, and now he sees Star Wars and the whole universe from a different light, like the rest of us. And that's why we're on the dark side. Jen, please correct Solo Wookiee and tell him that you cannot use Dark Disciples, and then give us some ridiculous grade that we don't even have.
But I knew. I saw it in his face. I'm like, because that is a great novel. So I'm like, I know it. I knew it got him. So because there's other episodes that are going to be a 5, 5.5, even though it's breaking the rules, I'm still going to stay at a 4.5. I think that's what I was last week. I really love that throughout Star Wars, even though you're a master, you're still learning from your Padawan. And like, of course, as a master, you're going to be teaching your pupil. But I love whenever the Padawan saves them. Like, right, all the times Anakin saves Obi. It happens so many times throughout Star Wars. So I love that. Ahsoka, like the Ventress with the banter. Yeah, 4.5. Like I think this is one of those pivotal episodes that you can't just skip because then it just takes away from Ventress and Ahsoka later.
Well, and there's so much character development of Illuminati, Ahsoka, Ventress, Gunray. I mean, just the clones, everything. Every person in this has just that character building moment.
That's good. When I ask you what your grade is, you can say that instead of what you said. Okay, so here we go. Do not read the Ahsoka Tanda novel between now and our next review, because then all of a sudden we're going to have different reviews than we should be having. I'm going to see this without having Dark Disciple knowledge, which I do. But
I don't have any knowledge.
Yeah, you should. It really.
I will after I finish Into the Darkness. Which I gotta get
oh, jeez, I can't.
Just go.
All right, so I'm actually going to give it a 4, and why I'm going to give it a 4 is because it's got everything that I like. The banter was really good, especially starting off with Ahsoka and Ventress. The Newt thing, I really do like this character. I like to hate him because he is just the character you want to smack at all points, and he never does it. He never fails that. I do like how they incorporate the clone army and try to humanize it by using actual human troops, or at least humanoid troops, to go back and forth and how the decisions would be different. It really is something that plays out. I mean, this is called the Clone Wars. I mean, it's about the clones. I really like how they did all that. I like how they had some terrible droid and then just decide to blow them up, which is fun in my books. If you're going to create terrible things, blowing it up is all you can do with that. That's all you can do with that. I will say that I was a little bit disappointed in some of the facial features and everything else with Ventress, but it does get better too. I get it. You're witchy-ish and all that type of stuff. Not really what I was looking for. I think they did the back and forth a little bit too much with like the standstill stalemate fighting scenes. Like, we get it. Luminaris can't take care of it herself. Ahsoka kind of still is the better lightsaber fighter, but we could have sped that up a little bit. I know we did need to get a show to me 30 minutes or whatever it was back then. And I love the fact that they stabbed that that guy with the hair, with the coif and the plucked eyebrow. Just stab him, just because I wanted to stab him. So I'm glad he got stabbed, and that's why it probably would have been a 3.5, but then they stabbed him, and then I was like, all four. Because hey, listen, I mean, I, as much as I love Ventress, as much as I love her as a character, and obviously I've been a big proponent of Dark Disciples. You know, some of the lines in there are, if you take it without knowing what we know, some of the lines are a little bit rough from Ventress still on here. A little bit. They're a little bit cheesy. Still got a little bit of cheese
Not
stuff.
written nearly as well in the episode as they are in the book for sure, but still.
Or later on, or even later on in like episode, in season 6 and stuff like that, as they develop the character later on.
With the balance with the kid, it's a kid show. Is it not a kid show? Because I mean, we had a clone's head or the helmet bouncing off of after she decapitated.
Yeah, we did. I mean, remember Adult Swim. So with that being said, we have a 4 overall, a great one, and I love that they then took Slimy Newt and started off the next episode with it. And the next episode is the Lair of Grievous. I don't want to give away what I think about this, but go ahead, Jen.
Most powerful is he who controls his own power.
All right, Pete, give us the artwork. Let's go. What do we got?
Where we go?
Hey, we made it 16 minutes. We're good.
There it is.
All right, so we got Kate Fisto. All I ever see is this guy's head being sliced off, and that smile from the movie. Like every time I see him, that's all I ever see.
Yeah.
Oh, we also got this character. Look, I wrote it down because I'm going to get it wrong, so I'm just going to spell it VEPB. That's his last name. Good luck, Vipa, whatever.
I don't remember what they called him.
So they're hunting down Newt at this point, and they end the.
Whenever I see that character, it's a trap. Like
Yeah,
I just
It's Akbar.
Yeah,
It's an elaborate ruse.
So I don't, because of Clone Wars, when I see it as a cartoon, I always think of the prince. When the prince goes, "Let's attack!" And I'm like, okay. That's all I ever see. Let's attack! And I'm like, oh. All right. Sorry, that was probably pretty loud too. So real quickly, here we go, and you hear Newt talking, and the droids are there, and both of them come up, and it turns out that it actually isn't Newt; it's a fake Newt hologram. And he does his little laugh, and then he goes, "Now you're in trouble because you don't know where you are."
Yeah. And now you can do your line because this is what
Jen, come on, Jen. I did that. Dude, I did that. I did an attack. You got to do it to trap. Jeez, come on. No. Okay. Well,
you did a great job with your voice. I was like, it's good. You do it again.
It's funny.
Oh,
Anyway.
he does it to trap. So this is, stop it right here. This is a question of who this is. This is actually Grievous. This was what Grievous originally looked like before, in his original form, before he started being replaced metallically. And they have him. They don't know this. The Jedis just know it's some warrior. There's some Sith-ish type action going on, correct? And they're like, oh, it's really a lot of dark force in here, or something to that effect. Go ahead. Yeah, man, he wasn't a good-looking dude.
No,
he looked tough, though.
Definitely an ugly mug.
Yeah, he was tough. And then all of a sudden they noticed all the Grievous masks, which were pretty cool. I really did like this because they gave us the full inside of something. And I actually wanted, after this, more Grievous storyline.
Mhm.
Like, I want to know the whole Grievous story. I want them to come out with it, just like they did Dark Disciples or Tarkin or something else of it. So it turns out it's Grievous's lair. The truth is that Dooku had set him up. He wanted to test him because of all the failures. Remember, he was fleeing and everything like that. So he gave the Jedi the location and set them up there with the Newt thing because they thought they were following Newt. Veep, whatever that guy's name. It's a trap. Akbar Light is just like what any of the Akbar lights are like. They're not as strong as Akbar, so he's whining a little bit and saying we should be careful, whatever. Grievous gets messed up. Yeah, Grievous gets messed up a little bit. Also, a cool part happens from that, but he sends out all the
because he loses his legs, I think. And just
they took off his legs.
Off with no legs.
Yeah, the clones started like shooting grappling hooks into him and pulling him apart, and he just ripped his legs off.
Yeah, I didn't get images of that, so I don't have him getting hurt or fixed, but that figure should cover.
But even his guards, remember when he came in, his guards were deactivated, and he's like, why are they deactivated? So I really do feel like Dooku, like, it wasn't really a test so much as like, if you survive, okay, but I kind of want you gone.
Yeah, but that's kind of what they did with a lot of the characters. I mean, that's what a Well, I mean, that's what they do with a lot of characters. So, I mean, and we'll get into it. They do it a lot. I kind of like that too. Kind of like that they gave him the test because it was a dark side test. Speaking of I did like they did reattach his body and they showed a lot of stuff there. Mm-hmm. And they actually gave us another droid, an A4D droid, which is like a scary nightmare droid. And I hope they bring that back. He was the one that did the surgeries he was the one that did the original surgery on Grievous and was fixing all the parts to put him back together. Obviously there's booby traps. And when Pete brings up being a kid show, you see stuff like this where clones just get incinerated in heat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they just roll. Like, all right, keep going, guys.
Yeah. It's next. So here this is also something that comes up. We have attacks by big monsters too, which I thought just like, what is this, a Grunduck or something?
I don't know. Either it looks like something from Troll Hunters, though. Or Troll Hunters kind of looks a bit like this.
Yeah.
Like it's like in the Rancor family, but a different version.
Like a Rancor and a Gundar got together.
Yeah, Gundar got together with the Rancor, and they went back. So, here we go. They're reattaching. Did you catch that part when they were like, when the droid goes, this is gonna hurt a little bit, and Grievous started to like go or something like that, like it hurt, and the droid kind of like gave out like a laugh, almost like yeah, of course it hurts because like I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool.
Holding your helmet to your skin. Yeah.
Yeah, he had that droid had a really weird, because even at the end, remember, like he enjoyed things that weren't great.
No, I like that droid. I think it's dope. I actually hope that that's why I think it would really work if they did a 000, because it's like that's like the protocol for the 000. By the way, that monster thing's name was a Gore, Gor. That just so you guys know, it is a Gore. Anyways,
that could be a melding of Rancor and a
there you go. Of course, our friend Akbar Light is very sympathetic towards the sympathetic towards the droid. Here's where we get Dooku because he figures out that his security droids have been shut off. So here's where we get Dooku telling him like, "Hey, listen, dude, we know what you did, bro. You know we're gonna kill you here. If you can get out of here, we're all good. If you can't, then see you later. Peace.
Yeah, you're not worthy.
No hard feelings. So he comes back stronger than ever. Great repair job on him real quickly. Once again, I like because you start to see like the 4-arm, 2-arm fighting difference. You got to see a lot of action in it. He always is. I always think that they never showed him in the movies because I don't like as much how they did him in the movies as they did him in cartoons. But that's only because the technology is much better for the cartoons than it is. And you get to see a Kit who, by the way, at this time, if you remember him, his head was smiling and rolling off his shoulders. And you get to see like why maybe he was part of the attack squad that went after Sidious at this point. So it's pretty cool. No,
I wish they did a better job. Like I remember watching it in the movie theater and seeing it and being like, what, that's it? Like these are supposed to be like Jedi Masters, and it was literally like whoosh, you're done. And it's like they didn't even do anything.
That was the problem with most of the prequels, though. They gave you too much screen time of the uninteresting stuff and didn't give you enough of the interesting stuff.
But that's what I'm saying about the Clone Wars, the cartoon. It makes up for that. We get to see a lot of the fun parts in the Clone Wars cartoon. So it's kind of cool to see Fisto and why he was kind of a BA or like a Jedi Master.
That's a good shot too.
It was a good shot. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's like when he got away or something like.
Yeah, one of my favorites. I've always really liked Plo Koon and Kit Fisto.
So Kit comes back and gives the overall. Hey, let's see who all the Jedi Masters are. He gives his overall report about how about Grievous's castle and how Nute Gunray is still out there. And we end up. That's the end of this episode. That's pretty much the end of this episode. All right, cool. So what do we got? Solo Wookie, are we up in the board meeting or are we still with us?
I'm still here.
All right, cool. Well, give us your great review of this one.
This one I really like. I'm gonna have to knock it down to a 3.5 only because of the whiny Padawan calamari that kind of ruins this one for me. He was a knight. He was on his own.
He was a knight. He wasn't a Padawan,
but he acts like a
little
Anakin Padawan all through the whole thing, and I'm gonna take it over, and he just doesn't follow any kind of the Jedi. He's just trying to do his own thing. He's not a team player.
Yep.
I get why they had him in there. It's very relevant and important to how they wrote him to do what he is doing. It's just a little annoying. It's like, dude, you're gonna get everyone killed because you're a moron. I can't wait until you die in this episode because I can see you coming. Like, just take a saber, bro. Like, come on. So I really like the setup, the Dooku, the seeing Grievous's lair and how he lived. I thought that was really, really cool. I like seeing all the early statues right there of Grievous and all of that stuff was really, really, really dope. So yeah, I got to go 3.5 and it'd be like a 4.5 if that guy wasn't quite as dumb and whiny.
JJ Maxwell actually brings up a really good point. He's talking about the original Grievous, not in this current canon situation. Was really, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I wish they would have gone back to that type of Grievous and do some more stuff. I think this had a little bit touching on it. All right, Pete, what do you got?
This one, I think it might have suffered from an extra week of reflection. Like I reviewed this last week, it might have been a little higher, but in comparison to the rest, I got to give this one just a 3. Mostly because I dozed off the first time I tried to watch it. Like I fell asleep. I'm just going to be honest. I fell asleep. I know it was late, but still kind of fell asleep. And I had to catch up. I'm like, where did I leave off? And it didn't really matter. And I'm like, all right, there's some cool stuff in it. I'm not going to say that there wasn't, like all the Grievous statues. And I love seeing Grievous getting rebuilt and multiple masks. But outside of that, it was just a pretty, not a lot happened here. Like didn't really progress the story too much. So for that, I got to give a baseline and just got to go with a 3 so I have room for better scores going forward.
Excellent. No, that's good. That's solid. Jen, what do you got?
So I'm trying not to get influenced, and I can't remember what my score was last week. I can't find it in my papers, but so I know that I know. I want to say it was probably 4.5, but now I'm thinking a 4. But I still even though the newly fresh Jedi Knight was there, I think he was really trying to impress his master and be like, look, this is what I can do. This is what and then even with the clones, he was just green, right? Like, yes, you're a knight, but I think especially because it was Kit, he was just trying to impress. I loved that they did Grievous's lair, and we saw some of that backstory. It almost felt like a little bit of a horror feel for a couple, the panels and frames or whatnot. And yeah, it also just proved, and it showed more how Kit is in control of his power, right? That he didn't. That was his Padawan, and he even was trying to tell his Padawan, hey, slow down, man. I know you're a knight and stuff, but you're kind of going too fast. Those are, to me, good moments to see between a knight and a master. And then again, he showed his masterness. So 4.
Cool. Yeah, sorry, I keep forgetting to put the clone helmets up in it. I would have actually given this a 5 if it was just covered the Grievous version of it, the Grievous Castle. If they would have given us 10 more minutes of Grievous Castle. I really like the Dooku part about how they are dark side and they're just hey, we're going to throw you to the wolves. And if you make it, that seems like something they would do. And by the way, kind of with the setup of what happens to Dooku later, it kind of did the same thing to him. So Karma's one of those. But I really like that portion of it. The add-ons, 80,000 Magna guards and the going back and reporting. And I mean, I like the new part in the beginning, but I thought it could have played off a little bit better. Or they could have had a little bit more traps or maybe gotten into some of the backstory or had a droid do overall. Like I said, I like the repair droid what would you call it? It has to be a repair droid, right? Because there's hardly any human or
flesh left is what
flesh left. Yeah, so
it's like RoboCop 2
droid though. Don't they even call him a medical droid in the?
Yeah, really, he's just a repair droid because he's really just putting back together oil and
robots are people too, Marco.
Yeah, says. So hey, I'm giving it 3.5. You can cut out some of the beginning. You can cut out the end. Obviously, Akbar Light isn't exactly my favorite of the Jedi. I get what Jen's trying to say, but that's because Jen's a very nice person and I'm not. So I give it 3.5.
Yeah, I think if we had more Grievous Castle, like you said, I think I would have graded it higher. I think I felt shortchanged on that for some of the other stuff.
Absolutely.
I don't think we ever go back, do we?
No, the Grievous. No, that's what I was saying. Like, I think that's kind of what JJ's point was too. Like, at one point, it was really cool because the old ones had made him so crazy. And I would really like to. I mean, they've kind of pieced out the explanations of Grievous before. That's one where if they're good, when they're doing all these movies and stuff, like when it originally came out, they were going to do the Boba Fett singular storyline before they did the Mandalorian thing. They were going to do the Obi-Wan singular storyline. They were going to do. I was just hoping, they was going to do a Darth Maul one, but then obviously they did the Rebels thing where they stabbed them. So how's that going to work out for you? Yeah. But I mean, I was always hoping that we'd get a Voss, and I was always hoping we'd get a Grievous type situation too. I think Grievous is probably one of the most underutilized characters that they have because they kind of just throw him as a third or fourth tier like note, especially like JJ said earlier in the movies. They just, I mean, what he runs away from Obi, I guess, and like what in a speeder thing, and then a dragon. What? Okay. Anyway, so that's what we've got for that. I just pressed the wrong button, so we might be getting. All right. The next episode is episode number 11. Dooku captured. Jen.
The winding path to peace is always a worthy one, regardless of how many turns it takes.
And, if you guys know anything about Jen, you know that she is like this Hondo character. This is Hondo. I know he's starting to become popular, and it pretty much is because Jen was the one that really wanted to over and over and over again talk about Hondo. You can go back into the archives and watch her video on Hondo. We did that video 3 different times because she thought it wasn't good enough, and then almost made us scratch it again. And we were like, no, we're not doing this again. It's been like 4 months in the making. We're just putting out there. So if you want to find out more about Hondo, go back there, watch the Hondo video. Maybe we'll even link it below. We'll see what we can do out of it. Jen, I am giving you this screen right here. Take us through this. Yeah, you get it. We're good. Pete, run that reel.
Hondo.
So let's see if I can remember. It's been I literally, if we had this last week, I could have done this. So they need. Oh crap! See, this is
the final front. Oh no! Wait.
no. So they're going after Dooku. They're trying to find Dooku.
Right.
And Dooku's on a planet already. He is. They're trying to capture him. He's doing his meditation thing. They end up damaging the ship. Because he does an exit pod, right? Is that what happens? He uses.
He goes down this like Goonies water slide.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so they were already going after him already, trying to end the war.
They were chasing him.
Dooku on the run.
Dooku on the run. He's using the little giggly lightning thing. There he goes. We get Anakin.
He can handle it, as we saw in the movie, was it?
Apparently.
And Obi-Wan's like, we got to go this way. And he's like, no, I'm going to chase him right down this slide. And then Obi-Wan's like, all right, I'll meet you there. And goes around and beats him to it.
So Dooku's pod ends up on a planet that seems somewhat deserted. And obviously he can't get away. And then pull that back. Why didn't we use this picture? Because remember, we were trying to explain what Hondo looked like. Why didn't we just cut this out and use that picture right there? Sorry, Pete.
You do it. Yeah, there you
go.
Yeah, the little saucer thing. So that doesn't look like something from another sci-fi TV show that's really terribly done. This actually is what Hondo's ship looks like.
And I didn't have this picture then. That's why we didn't use it.
Space, the final frontier.
What's that from? Is that a documentary? So here we go. We get Hondo. We get his little rat type creature. We get the robot, and we get a bunch of little. Oh yeah, his whole crew there.
Weequay?
Yeah, Weequay it is. Weequay show up. They see this, and they run to Count Dooku. Oh, on another note, Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi come into. This is kind of interesting because it's like 2 episodes from each other. We had the gore on the other one. We'll open up the master book because I forgot this now. Is a Garndark. This is actually the Gundark, like Pete was saying earlier.
Yeah, let's see what play chess with it or rip your arms off.
Yeah, I know. I just thought they made this too like Monster in the Dark stuff. Anyways, Hondo decides that he's going to make a deal with Dooku, but he's not going to make a deal with Dooku. You know where this is going to go. He's actually going to trap Dooku. He originally forgets that he is not, or he thinks he's a Jedi and misinterprets him for a Jedi, but
he thinks he's got money. He's like, oh, a ship like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he plays the whole. What lesson did his mom teach him in this one, Jen?
From the Book of Hondo, right?
Yeah. Like if you got money, then the other side wants you more.
Yeah, and like we'll also like if you have one. Oh, that's later, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Dang it.
So this mom lesson here was, if your side's willing to pay so much money, the other side is going to be willing to pay more. And that's Hondo's mom in the book of Hondo. That's one of the lessons he does. So he starts talking about it. We go back to Luke and Obi-Wan, and they now
Anakin
have
and Obi-Wan.
What did I say, Luke?
Yeah.
Ahsoka comes to help.
Yeah.
Did I just say Luke? Jeez.
You did.
That's okay.
It's all right. He's a really good character.
Yeah, and she's playing like mom there.
Yes,
like,
she is. That was kind of...
It kind of bothered me a little bit when she saves them and they're like, oh, we're fine. And she's like, oh, yeah. And behind you, like, because it was still coming at them.
Yeah, we have to get out. No, but that is it. Like, that's what you're going to see her from now on. She's going to be that Ahsoka, which I think is the Ahsoka we all like and love. Too bad, Mike, you're not here. But then we get a little bit of Yoda. Obviously, that was drawn better. And they taught, and they try to make a deal. Was it for spice? Because they don't want credits, right?
Yeah.
Hondo do the spice deal. Send a couple Jedis. Obviously, you know who the Jedi they are. They're going to send there. They're going to send a couple Jedis to deliver spice to him in exchange for Dooku. They decided that that's a good idea. Sometimes I really do wonder about the moral choices of the Jedi Council. Like, why do they even have a Jedi Council? Because a lot of times it doesn't seem like they follow the rules of the Jedi Council or any rules at all. They just make it up as they go from the seat of their pants. They're completely against spice and death sticks and everything else. But for some reason,
they have an awful lot of spice on hand, just sitting there for a trade. Like, hey, you never know when we're gonna need. I don't know, 400 kilos of spice. Yeah, we'll trade that. Like, dude, what is going on with you right now? I hear you. I hear you.
Like the Ron Sancho is going on there real quickly. Also, I might add, it doesn't take much convincing ever to do something that might be like, oh, let's send 2 Jedi in there without lightsabers and a bunch of spice. 2 people we don't know. Good idea. This is going to work out a-okay. I don't get it. I really don't get it. So, but that's what they do. And of course, they send Anakin and they send Obi-Wan. Anakin is a little apprehensive where Obi-Wan, even though he is like a master at this point, is always for going to bars and drinking for some reason. I don't get his social life, but he sure seems like I think that's the story we need. I hope when they do the Obi-Wan story, it's just Obi-Wan in a bar in Tatooine and like, cheers, right? Like
frequent the Mos Eisley Cantina quite often.
Yeah.
It's just normal hangout.
Yeah, it's just he says hi to the mailman. He says hi to the they come in.
He shows up at the cantina. Ben!
Yeah.
He got a spot at the bar for him. So he tells Annie here that they got to calm down and they got to kind of just play their game, which is smart. Dooku, they show Dooku there all wrapped up and tied up. Also, later on, it doesn't make sense what they do because they have him in this apparatus, but later they just decide to throw him in a jail cell. Hey, there's some of the best right there. That's the squad, an all-star squad of Palps. Ace, I'm gonna die. Windu, and Jar Jar Binks, which is Darth Palpatine, apprentice, true apprentice. So there we go. Oh yes, Sidious. Yeah,
he's Plagueis.
When I say Plagueis, long day. Hondo smoozes him over, says, "Come on, we'll have a good time. We'll do this. We'll do that." Gives him a little drink. Do you think Hondo was knew about the poison? He had to, right? Because now he's selling them all.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We didn't have to game about that.
Give time out. This is something I had. This is something I want to bring up in about that right there. We know from other lore that they have in canon now that Jedi can feel even bad things in the Force, like if certain food is tainted. How do we have the chosen? Thank you, Jen. Go ahead, preach.
Well, because it makes because it's like if you are a Jedi and you have the Force, is the Force not being like, hey, because basically it was kind of like a roofie, right? Like,
yeah.
And they just drank it. Like, this is fine. It didn't taste funny. Like even like
no, but it didn't.
I would have been okay if they
didn't drink it.
Like, but I'm saying like even a taste, it would have been like, oh, this is
no, they swapped them.
Huh?
They swapped them.
I know, but like but they still got drugged. So it's just like, how did that happen? Like, you have the Force. The Force should be like, no, I'm good. I don't need to drink right
drugged. Now. They got drunk. They got extremely drunk on
Yeah, they did it to themselves. Yeah, they swapped the roofied ones.
Yeah,
with
the other
They were all
yeah,
poisoned,
I'm under the same impression of Jen. I think they swapped them and they still got roofied later on.
I'm with Solo. I think Obi-Wan's just a bad influence because he's just a drunkard.
They're like, we swapped us. Let's get housed. We're safe.
I figured he would have. I figured he would have made the underling be the designated driver in this scenario.
Man, these weak ways are good people. Where are they going to drive? They're not going to go nowhere.
Yeah. I know. In general, like somebody's got to guard the spice or something. You know,
they
like
were probably talking about hitting up the spice. Hey, let's go dig in right now.
By the way, speaking of Dark Disciple, doesn't Voss do something where he can like get rid of the drunkenness, like the hangover?
Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, if it was just drunkenness, how did that not happen? Number two, they can actually manipulate the poison in them. How did they end up?
Obi-Wan even says after they swap with the other two guys, and they drink, and Obi-Wan even makes a remark about how strong the drink is. And he's like, wow, this is good, but geez, it's strong. And that's why I got the impression that they got housed. Because, see, here's the guys after they swapped, and the guys on each side of them are passed out. And they're still up drinking into the wee hours, thinking, we're Jedi, we can handle it.
Do?
Yeah, but they passed out right after that. They passed out right after that. I was always under the impression that it was the Princess Bride scenario where
exactly.
Pushed the glass, but it had the stuff in the other glass. So then they're cheering, going like, hey, we pulled it over on them, but both glasses were technically had the roofie in it, and they had been roofied also. That's what I was on.
Maybe that's why they didn't sense it, because everybody's drinks have it. So, it's not
so we already
turn it down. Like, you're with a bunch of pirates. Like, I don't need to drink anything until I'm gone. I'll get some back on the ship. Like, it's fine.
So this is a two-parter. Technically, that's where it stops. We obviously gave away that they've been roofied, but without that, Solo, what do you have on the roofie episode?
This one it's good, but there's not a lot of that hard-hitting content. It's a fun episode. I give it a 3. It's a 3. It's just not like one of the super impactful, informative ones. It's just a fun episode.
Okay, Pete, what do you got?
I agree. I agree with Solo there, but I'm gonna give it a 3.5 just because I do like Hondo and it was just kind of fun. But it definitely does feel like because it kind of is just like the first half of a story, so it kind of feels that way. Like I don't feel like a complete story was told yet, so I know there's more to come. And maybe in knowing that there's more to come, I'm giving it that extra half a point where I probably shouldn't. But it is what it is. It was better. I enjoyed this one more than I stayed awake. So I enjoyed this one more than I did Grievous's Lair.
It's like finally they're drinking. I can watch this.
I can relate.
JJ Maxwell also chimes in with Obi-Wan is the worst wingman in a bar, swapping drinks, cutting dudes' arms off, etc. Yes, he is. Jen, what score do we have for this?
Okay, because of Hondo, because of Ahsoka, because of the lesson of never drink a drink you don't pour yourself or you don't see being poured. But even then, you're still in a pirate sense, so it could still be
it could be at the source.
So I'm still gonna go with a 4 because this is still better than the Jar Jar episodes.
Are you saying pirates aren't trustworthy, Jen?
They're never trustworthy. Bad guys or opportunists are never trustworthy. Like, you have to just like always be on guard.
Did you watch the Ventress episode with plucked eyebrows? Never trustworthy. All right. I might surprise people, but I'm going to give this episode a 2.5. And this is why. Because the job is not to know that we're going to like this character down the road. The job is to watch it like we watched it for the first time. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of bad in this episode. The whole Dooku giggly in the trash chute with Anakin jumping down there. Then they get split up, and you got the Gundark on one, and then Ahsoka coming to save them. And that part could have been cut. You could have reduced that. The fact that we to this day, after watching this thing 20 times, can't figure out if they were drunk or drugged. The fact that the fact of the council, why even have the council? Just make it a footnote and be like, yep, we got tons of drugs everywhere. Just hand out drugs like it's candy. A lot of it, you know what I mean? Like, and when you first got it, if you remember this first episode, you're like Jen said, why are you trusting these people? This makes no sense. And then they kind of just left it at the cliffhanger of these two dudes just like, hey, what's up? Those guys are passed out. We're drinking. Not really good. Not an end to the story. And as you know, if you've ever heard me talk about any of the movies from Star Wars, then if you don't give me a start and you don't give me a finish, you can't get a 5. You just can't. You get deducted automatically a point for not doing that stuff. So you do that, you reduce it a little bit more, you get 2.5. It's cool to be in a hut, but it really wasn't as cool as the next episode. And the final episode we have here is episode 12. The Gungan General. Oh, jeez. Jen?
Fail with honor rather than succeed by fraud.
All right. So, fail with honor. Pete, give us the last one. So we'll pick up where the last story was off, and now they have been passed out, and we have them in prison in these little cuffs that for some reason are tricky for Jedi and for Sith to get out of. They are also tied to Dooku. There's a little bit back and forth. Did anybody like the back and forth between these three?
I do. I thought they're interesting. Trio.
Yeah. Menage a tray. Yeah. Okay.
I don't understand why they can't break out of those little ropes, though. I used to get those down at the local fair all the time, and not. I mean, you got the little clear plastic thing that plugs in. You just break them off. It's
you take them to the club and do a little house music and start dancing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not that.
So we also get introduced that you can't even trust pirates here because the pirate assistant to Hondo is talking about robbing the spice. You know, this is the interesting part about Hondo. We do figure out a little bit in here, but later on, he might be a pirate. His morality might be a little loose. Could you pause it here? His morality might be a little bit loose. However, he does have a standard. If they actually would have delivered the spice, he probably would have given all 3 of them to the Republic. This character right here, his name is Karashus. He is on the mission, and he's with Jar Jar Binks, Dark Jar Jar. So you know how this is going to end up. Pete, how does this end up?
Goofy.
Yeah. He's on a ship. He's a very great diplomat. Of course, they're all supposed to be strapped into their ride at Cedar Point, and Jar Jar can't get into a seat for some reason. I mean,
it's too complicated.
It crashes. And obviously, Karash got out to help Jar Jar, so that gives him the ultimate death, and he's dead. So thanks for introducing a character for 5 minutes so that Jar Jar could kill him. Yes, Jen. Do you have a theory that he's not?
No, he's dead. He just sucks. Like I just remember watching it and then being like, he should not. Like, don't ever go with Jar Jar. Like, it doesn't end up like well for a lot of people.
Well, like, he'll be fine. Like, you want to know why? Do you want to know why Qui-Gon Jinn died? Because he saved Jar Jar Binks. Remember, he jumped on him. After that, you get to test it. You get to touch a Jar Jar. You're dead. So don't ever save Jar. If you see a Jar Jar on the side of the road, I know you should.
A Jar Jar or just a Gungan in general?
No, just Jar Jar. Other Gungans can help. But if you see Jar Jar Binks and you're like, hey, listen, I think I should help this guy. I know everything at your heart might be like, I should really help this person. I have the light side in me. Just keep driving, keep walking, do whatever you have to, because he's an agent of the Sith, and you will perish. It's like seeing the ring in the TV. Okay, so
it's like if you come in contact with Jar Jar, you automatically wear a red shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, you don't get that reference.
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking? Is it something? Is it what? Is about that other TV show?
Something. Yeah.
It's about that other TV show. Okay. Yeah. No, I don't get that reference. Okay. Anyway, so they decide to form together and try as might they can to insult each other and free themselves. Oh, there we go. There's the death prowl because Jar Jar killed somebody else by that person saving him. A life for a death. Here comes the pirates. They're going to
anarchy style.
Yep. That was kind of cool. I did actually.
Why are they pirates? They're not on a ship. They're on scooters, man. They're right now. I mean, they're at this point. They're a biker gang.
They're in Tortuga. They're at home. They're home base.
There's no hook hands. I don't get it.
This is also real quickly. If you ever want to know about the theory of Dark Jar Jar, Jar Jar becomes a general here, so he obviously knows what he's doing because he takes 4 clones and somehow figures out that the little animals are moving away from the acid, how to pretty much maneuver around a whole group of well-trained pirates. He then gets the animals and decides to drive them. It follows the electrical path. Look, if he is not a agent of the Sith, I don't know anything about Star Wars. On the other side, they try to free themselves. That is Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Dooku, and kind of work together. They're about to climb the wall. I don't know why they're all the way up there where they could have just gone through this hole underneath them.
But, wait, I really liked. There's a couple scenes where like their banter is kind of like I thought it was kind of funny.
Good.
Where like Obi's like, "Is it safe?" And Dooku's like, "Of course it is." And then the door opens and it's a bunch of like the pirates, and he's like, "Oh," like because it's just they're 3 really powerful Force sensitive beings. Are you telling me you couldn't feel anyone on the other side of that freaking wall? Like, what?
Well, they had the things on. They were still.
They had the circus bracelets around them, and they couldn't use the Force with circus bracelets.
But they used the Force to jump up to here. Yeah, get out of here. All right.
I don't know. I can't explain that part either.
Yeah. So, hey, when everybody says, listen, I think at one point we might have to do, they're doing the Snyder cut. I think we should do the Filoni cut where everybody always goes, and I've said it before, and Dave, I trust, and then show the people who say that don't know, like some of these things really quickly that happened in Clone Wars. Because there's some things out there that you're like, brother. All right, here we go. So they're up there, and guess who's standing up there too, waiting for him? Oh, it's Hondo. You're never going to outsmart Hondo. There he is. He's got him. He can't. This is the part that it just I didn't see the reality of. He has got so much knowledge of where these guys are going to be at all points, but his second in command somehow is stealing a shipment of death sticks and spice.
Maybe they had trackers on the bracelets, so he knew where they were.
Okay,
there you go.
So here goes the Gungan, General Darth Gungan, and he is now figuring out how they're going to break in because he is in charge once again of that. They did the torture thing here, why they didn't have, they had Dooku in this originally, right? Oh, yep, you start. They had Dooku in this originally, which was a smart move, but then they gave him the bracelets of not stopping them from doing anything. And so they put him back into this. They're like, hey, listen, I liked you guys. I was going to sell you back. But now I'm just.
I love how it's a sweetheart shape too.
That was cute. Once again, why they're not using the Force to like force throw one pirate into another and just bang them off the walls is beyond me. But hey, you can do what you want.
Magic Band Sidorak or whatever. They can't.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, so here you go. Dark Jar Jar is standing up to a whole fleet of pirates now that are going to destroy him, and somehow, without quote unquote using the dark side of the Force, gets them to like ram into each other and all types of problems. Shoot each other and blow each other up and blow out the electricity, which then
Charlie Chaplin did. That's all.
Yeah, sure, right. Without using the Force, right? Okay, I'll believe that. Yeah. So that shuts out the power grid that he accidentally somehow got them to fall into, which releases the Jedi and the Sith Lord. Well, is he a Sith Lord? He's a Sith Apprentice Lord or whatever he is. And there you go. Jar Jar completely not injured at all and saved the day again so that Anakin can be alive and turn into Darth Vader. The end of this episode. Not really. So they go through.
It's almost.
Yeah, it's almost the end. So they go through and they kind of figure out like, hey, listen, we didn't mean to do this. We'll make the rest of the deal for you. By the way, your second in command has betrayed you. The ship, there he is. Oh,
Dooku just went on. Dooku was gone.
Yeah, Dooku disappeared. They don't have Dooku anymore. So Hondo says, okay, deal's a deal. I'll take care of my second in command. We'll take care of this. We'll take care of that. By the way, gets his ship back later on. There we go. Darth Gungan. The second half, they really should have combined these 2 episodes. And that's the last we think we're going to see of this character right here, Hondo. But it isn't. Okay. So what do we have for grades? We're going to leave Jen to the very first because she loves Hondo and she won't try to act like she doesn't know what happens with Hondo and how they turn him into a great character. Jen, what do you have for this grade?
So we did get that line about if you have one hostage, 2 is better, and then why not have 3? So I really like that. Dang it. I can't. You cannot watch all of Clone Wars and then go each episode and not grade it. Because, like, I'm already pre-grading because of the ones I know are going to be amazing. Like,
pretend you don't know.
It's. Oh.
Hey, just like you imagine that this Star Wars universe is real, imagine that you've never seen it before. It's imagination. It's all about imagination.
Because then I would have lowered my last one then. Because that was purely on like Hondo and Ahsoka.
Absolutely, I know.
I gave like a Hondo bump too.
All right, go ahead. Just give us a grade. This is funny.
Well,
don't look at the chat. Give us a grade. There it is. There it is.
Like I know it's coming. This kind of made me wish that Dooku didn't turn all the way bad or came back to the light side, just because I really do like his kind of character and how he is and how he plays off of like Anakin and then how he plays off of Obi. It's just such like I like it, but I know it's not going to last because they're not going to have that kind of like, but it makes me wish that he would have turned back because it would have been fun.
All right, Solo, what do you got, buddy? Give us a 4, a 3.5, and a 3. This is the second half of that 3. What do you got?
2.
2. What?
2.
Okay,
if you throw Jar Jar in an episode, I'm taking points off. Like, I can't stand the guy. And in Clone Wars, he is the epitome of bad. The only reason it gets a 2 is because there is iconically bad stuff in this to the point of humor. Like, exactly like Jen was saying, you got 2 master Jedis. The Chosen One is one of them, and Dooku, who is the, one of the greatest, apprentices ever, and they can't tell that there's a whole stack of biker pirates on the other side of that door. Come on, they can't work together to escape a pirate jail setup. Like it just come on.
The problem with the things is he used the knife with the things. He used the knife to open the door.
No, but
it is so nope. No.
Would you give it 2.5?
2.
2. Okay, 2, 3. Okay.
Give it a deuce.
Yeah, that's not good at all. That is not good at all. Gotta say hi to a couple more people that stopped by. Darth Lopez, what's going on? Hopefully that's the Dark Lady of the cast. We like that. Kyle, always good to see you. Also, Patrick, great. And Leftovers. Man, we got a lot of good people in the chat tonight. Okay, Pete, please save me from this.
I'm gonna go with a 4 for this one.
Jeez,
I get it. I get what you're saying. Hey, just let's hear me out. I know I'm giving it the Hondo bump because I might be planning on what I've saw before. But outside of that, I know you want to go with, how couldn't they do this? How can they get that? I don't care about the logistics of it. I actually did really enjoy the 3 of them, like trying to get out. Especially when they got like back to back to back. It's like, all right, now we got you guys. Now we got you. You're trapped like this. Like, I enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of funny, the 3 of them kind of playing off of each other. Like, I did enjoy that. And despite the negative Jar Jar factor, which I hate Jar Jar as everybody else, this one, he wasn't as goofy, really, when you think about it. He kind of took charge. Like, hey, guys, let's get on these animals. Let's ride these goddamn things. Like, he wasn't like, hey, I'm going to put on a show and do a dance and distract people. Like, he kind of had, like, a bit of a plan. Didn't make a lot of sense, but he got them through it. So it wasn't awful Jar Jar. So for that, 4.
I think you guys need to watch this again. I'll tell you what. I'm going to open this box over here.
No,
and you guys go and watch this episode again and forget all the Hondo stuff to come.
So for those that don't know, me and Solo do a show Saturday night. There's a lot of drinking that goes on during the show. And Solo Wookie decided that he was going to unbox something. It may be the world's greatest unboxing. We have to somehow chap that out so you don't have to watch the entire show because it is 3 hours long. That is why we're getting comments like, hey, Solo Wookie, there's kids on your lawn again. Go yell at them.
My galaxy.
And he gives it a 2.5 Spawn statues without fingerprints. Very good. JJ Maxwell says that he will be sending several different limited Jar Jar action figures to unbox. I'm going on vacation soon, so please don't do it till I'm gone because I don't have that type of time to get back to my life.
Please send them. I will put them to very good use.
Yeah. We also have a lot of talk about the casting of the Obi-Wan show with the new girl, with a new woman that was in there. We think maybe if you go back and watch some of our stuff, we did something on the Dark Woman. That'd be very interesting if they did it there. I know there's a lot of other people thinking it would be certain characters that maybe probably are dead around that time. But hey, she could be whoever they want.
She looks like she would fit. That's all.
Fit what? The Dark Woman, or
the person who's no longer with us at that time of when they're doing. But have flashbacks, people. We could flashback.
Well, we have flashbacks, but I don't think they're bringing in a big star to do one little flashback. But I could be wrong.
A star.
No, Brian, you're safe.
Do you think it's her
amazing?
It's her Force ghost.
What?
I know.
What? Yeah. Okay.
I know.
I'm giving it a 3. Okay. I'm just gonna give it a 3. Bottom line, giving it a 3 because if it wasn't for Darth Binks or Darth Plagueis, who is Jar Jar Binks, it might have got a little bit higher of a score. It also was a part of a story. There wasn't really a beginning to it. The end was okay. I did like to play back and forth between Dooku and the Jedi. And I like Hondo, but with that being said, this was supposed to be the end arc of Hondo, so it wasn't the great Hondo that we get later on, and his character development does go forward. And I follow the rules, unlike the rest of us who decide not to follow the rules. So we give it a 3 there. Guys.
Rules, bendy. Must be part of the Jedi Council.
Rules.
Yep.
Hey, make sure you guys give us a
Hey, if this episode would have been earlier in the show, maybe I wouldn't have been as lenient, but it wasn't. So.
All right. Well, make sure you give us a thumbs up below. Also, please tell us if you like the new format, how we have those slides that go through and do it. I think we can make it still within an hour and do a couple more of these. We're trying to get these ready for Bad Batch. I know a lot of you know it. I know we've got a lot of messages from you guys telling us, like, can't wait till Bad Batch comes out. We're trying to get this tailored down for Bad Batch. We are excited about it. Solo.
Please, everybody, like and subscribe. Hit that alarm bell. And may the Force be with you.
Always. I don't have the house screen.
Back Club.
Back Club.